It is 20 past the hour here in the Russian capital. A primary school in Scotland has asked boys and male teachers to wear skirts for a day to promote gender equality. Well, it certainly drew a mixed response from the parents.
Extremely creepy. So pleased I haven't got any children going to that school. Hope authorities are contacted about this disgusting decision.
My son goes to the school and decided he wanted to wear a skirt in support. This kid should be praised, not frowned on. I can't believe the vile single-minded comments that some people have made.
Thankfully, my kids are not part of your school. You should keep your deranged thoughts to yourself and not thrust them onto primary school children. Shameful behaviour.
Well done, Castleview. Proud of my daughter and her friends for asking for this. They are more mature than a lot of the narrow-minded hate thrown at them today. Brilliant school working towards teaching inclusivity for all.
What's happening in Western culture at the moment is there is a move to see any gender distinction as a problem and to try and subvert it and to overcome it in one way or another. Now, as I say, whether or not the end result might be positive or negative, I feel it probably isn't positive in most cases. Trying to use children as part of that process at a stage where skirts are clearly seen as female clothing. So you're saying to a boy, basically dress as a girl. That's very unhelpful because gender confusion is an epidemic in the Western world at the moment. There's a massive increase in the number of children and young people who are experiencing gender confusion. They're being referred to clinics, going on to various so-called treatments. It's a problem that can blight them through the rest of their life.
As we can show you here, several of the male teachers at Castleview School in Edinburgh went along with the idea. It was inspired by the Wear a Skirt to School Day in Spain, held as a protest after a 15-year-old in Bilbao was expelled for wearing one. Castleview says it's all about freedom of expression.
We're keen to spread the message that clothes don't have a gender and that we should all be free to express ourselves as we choose.
According to the school principal, the request came from students themselves, as she posted some of their letters online. One girl wrote that she heard about the Bilbao case and wanted her school to have a Wear Skirts Day too. The Edinburgh City Council has spoken out in support of the school, stressing that no one was forced to wear a skirt.
This impression that this came from the children is basically dishonest. These are young children. They're led by the teacher in the direction the teacher wants to lead them in. And then basically the staff are dishonest in claiming that this came from the children in some sort of organic manner. It didn't at all. It's the staff using the children to advance their own agenda. This is a state school. All government schools in Scotland, which is where probably over 90% of children go to, then they all have to have this sort of LGBT inclusive education approach. So parents can't opt out of this by choosing a different school because all schools have this sort of gender LGBT agenda, and it's being pushed onto to young people. They're frightened to send their children to school because of the just sheer indoctrination that will take place in them.
In some other world news.
Well, that's Russia Today covering that story. As far as I'm aware, no broadcast media in Scotland have covered this story at all. As far as they're concerned, a school encouraging boys to wear girls' clothes, that's just a non-event. There's nothing to say. Quite a bit of the reporting has presented this as being about gender equality, which I think is not quite the heart of it. The heart of it is transgenderism. I think they're supporting a transgender pupil in Spain who was a boy wanting to wear a skirt. So saying it's about gender equality, I think they're just trying to back off from the real core of the issue there. This interview was quite interesting. It was quite challenging, actually. It was good. They asked lots of difficult questions about it. But the answers that they broadcast, it wasn't quite clear which question I was answering with them. So some of them might have seemed a little bit out of context. But overall, it was fine. It was good. There's one thing in the interview. The Russian lady interviewing me, at one point she asked me whether I thought girls should wear pants. So I had to clarify that I think she meant trousers. But the interview proceeded on the basis of she was trying to ascertain my view on girls wearing pants. But anyway, that was quite amusing. The last thing I would say is when it comes to Russia, I mean, is Russia good or bad? I think there's a lot of people who would just have a straightforward Russia bad point of view. Because as far as they're concerned, it's bad in terms of democratic freedoms, in terms of foreign policy, and in terms of social policy and social attitudes. They're all bad. My view would be a bit more mixed in terms of democratic freedoms, foreign policy, etc. I would have some serious reservations, shall we say, about Russia. But when it comes to social policy and social attitudes, I think they're often pretty good and are superior to those dominating in Western Europe in many cases on many issues. So anyway, that's that. So I hope you find that interesting, and also hope to see you at our conference on Saturday. Get your tickets, the links just below this video. Right, thanks. Goodbye.